Alright, so I've been using the iPhone 16 Pro Max for just over a week now. And if there's one thing you need to know about this phone, it's that this thing is a beast. I'm talking about top of the line performance, incredible battery life, and a display that's, well, let's just say it's massive. Now, I've been daily driving this phone for a bit, and I gotta admit, there's a lot to love about it. But after a week of using it, I find myself, well, reconsidering. There's something about this phone that's been bothering me, and it's not the usual complaints like price or software issues. It's something else, and today we're gonna dive into that. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why I'm reconsidering this phone and what I plan to do about it. And hey, if you're new here, I'm RJ, and if you enjoy this type of content, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more in-depth iPhone reviews, tech comparisons, and everything in between. Let's get into it.
I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall.
Okay, so let's start off with one of the biggest highlights of the iPhone 16 Pro Max, battery life. This phone is an absolute beast when it comes to endurance. I've been consistently getting around 10 hours of screen on time, and I mean I'm using it for everything. Checking emails, browsing social media, watching YouTube videos, and even doing some light gaming here and there. And by the time I'm ready to call it a night, this phone still has battery to spare. I don't even worry about charging it during the day. That's how reliable it is. You can use it all day long without thinking twice. If you're someone who's constantly on the go, or if you travel a lot for work and you need a phone that's gonna last without being tethered to a charger, this phone, absolute win. You just don't have to think about battery life anymore. But as great as the battery life is, I started noticing something else that began to make me reconsider things. Let's talk about size for a second. Apple made the iPhone 16 Pro Max 0.2 inches bigger and 6 grams heavier than last year's model, the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, if you're looking at that on paper, those numbers seem tiny, but trust me when I say you feel it. When I first unboxed it, the size felt great. Huge display, immersive experience. But after a few days of using it, especially at night when I'm lying in bed, scrolling through Instagram or Twitter, that's when I started noticing the impact of that extra size. I don't know about you, but I do a lot of late night scrolling in bed. And when you're holding the phone above your face, trying to balance it with just one hand, that extra weight, it becomes a problem. I've dropped this thing on my face more times than I like to admit this week. And it's not just in bed. I find myself struggling to hold this phone one-handed during the day too. Reaching the top of the screen one-handed, forget about it. It's just not comfortable. And here's the thing, Apple didn't really change the user interface to make it easier to use a phone this big. I find myself constantly adjusting my grip or using two hands, which honestly kind of defeats the purpose of a phone. But here's where things get interesting. This year, Apple made a bold move. They gave the regular iPhone 16 Pro the exact same cameras as the Pro Max. The same 5x telephoto lens, the same image processing capabilities, everything that makes the Pro Max's camera system great is also found on the regular iPhone 16 Pro. And they didn't just stop there. They made the regular iPhone 16 Pro 0.2 inches bigger. So it's now a 6.3 inch device, still smaller than the Pro Max, but bigger than last year's regular Pros. Now you're getting a device that's more compact but still offers the same power and the same camera setup. And this is when I started asking myself, why am I using the Pro Max again? If the regular iPhone 16 Pro has all the same features, same performance, same cameras, slightly smaller display, what's really the difference here? Let's dive into the performance for a second. Both the iPhone 16 Pro Max and the regular iPhone 16 Pro come with Apple's new A18 Pro chipset. And honestly, this chip is a monster. It's crazy fast and it's super efficient. I haven't had a single issue with lag, stuttering, or slowdowns. Everything just works. Whether I'm editing videos, running heavy apps, or multitasking between social media and emails, the performance is rock solid. Plus, Apple fixed one of the biggest complaints from last year's iPhone 15 Pro. Overheating. Last year's phone ran pretty hot under heavy use, but this year Apple switched from using graphene pads to graphene sheets for better cooling. And let me tell you, it works. The phone stays cooler even when I'm pushing it with heavy tasks. No more worrying about your phone heating up when you're gaming or shooting 4K video. So in terms of performance, the regular iPhone 16 Pro, it's going to give you the same experience as the Pro Max. No difference there, which got me thinking, what am I really gaining by sticking to the Pro Max? Now, battery life is where the Pro Max really shines. We've already talked about how this phone gets 10 hours of screen on time. And yeah, it's a game changer. But after using it for a week, I started asking myself, do I really need this much battery? Let me explain. Sure, having that much battery life is great if you're constantly on the go, or if you're someone who uses their phone non-stop for work or media consumption. But here's what I found. The more battery life I have, the more I tend to use my phone. And not in a good way. I've been scrolling through social media way more than I usually would, simply because I know that the battery can handle it. It's like this phone is enabling me to be more distracted. And that got me thinking, maybe having a smaller battery wouldn't be such a bad thing. If I'm using a phone with less battery life like the iPhone 16 Pro, I'd probably be more mindful of how I use my phone. I wouldn't be glued to it, wasting hours scrolling through TikTok or Instagram. But the real kicker for me, it's the size. Over the past week, I've noticed just how inconvenient the Pro Max can be for daily use. Don't get me wrong, the 6.9-inch display is beautiful. It's great for watching videos, editing content, and even gaming. But for everyday tasks like checking email, texting, or even just holding the phone comfortably, it's too big. And the more I thought about it, the more that I started realizing that the regular iPhone 16 Pro might actually be a better fit for me. It's still got a decent sized display at 6.3 inches, but it's way more manageable. I can use it one-handed without constantly adjusting my grip, and it's just more comfortable to carry around. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still holding on to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. It is the flagship iPhone. And as a tech reviewer, it's important for the channel. People want to see how the biggest and the best iPhone stacks up against the competition, whether it's the Galaxy S24 Ultra, the Pixel 9 Pro, or whatever device we have coming out. And when it comes to creating comparison videos or long-term reviews, it's important for me to have the top-tier model. But for my quote-unquote personal use, things start to shift. You see, I've been trying to find a balance between what's best for my work and what fits my lifestyle. Do I keep using the Pro Max just because it's the flagship, or do I switch to something that's more practical for my day-to-day life? And after a lot of thought, I have made a decision. But first, I want to take a quick minute to talk to you guys about a game-changing accessory for your iPhone 16 Pro Max that I've been using. This is the O-Stand 360 spin case by Torras, and honestly, it's one of the most versatile cases that I've ever tried. What makes this case stand out is its all-in-one functionality. It's got everything you need: MagSafe compatibility, an upgraded 360-degree stable stand, a super convenient ring grip that makes holding your phone more secure. What I love most is that this stand rotates smoothly, giving you full flexibility to set it up in both landscape mode or portrait mode. Torras really nailed it with a grip-friendly curved back that not only feels great in your hands, but also adds that extra protection without feeling bulky. It's got this grainy, lychee textured body that provides a solid grip, along with replaceable buttons that give it a premium customizable feel. To complete the setup, I've paired it with the Torras Glasgow X screen protector. Installation is a breeze thanks to its two-step snap and pull process. You just snap it into place, pull, and it takes care of any air bubbles, no mess, no fuss. The best part is that it offers edge-to-edge coverage with military-grade protection. And what I really appreciate is that the black border is super narrow, so you still get the full immersive screen experience without any distractions. Click the link in the description below, select the same phone case and screen protector that I have, and add them to your cart. Anyone purchasing an O-Stand 360 case from now until October 7th will get 14 to 26% off. And of course, huge thanks to Torras for sponsoring this video. Alright, so after spending a week with the iPhone 16 Pro Max, I've decided I'm going to switch tomorrow. I'm going to pick up the regular iPhone 16 Pro, and here's why. The 6.3-inch display on the regular iPhone 16 Pro is just the right size for me. It's still larger than last year's regular iPhone, but it's way more comfortable for everyday use. I'm not constantly worried about dropping it, I'm not struggling to reach the top of the screen one-handed, and it feels more manageable when I'm out and about. And the best part, I'm not sacrificing anything important. I still get the same A18 Pro chipset, the same camera system, the same top-tier performance, all in a more compact and comfortable form factor. Everything I loved about the Pro Max, but in a size that actually fits my life. One of the things I'm most excited about is the idea of using my phone mindfully. You see, with the Pro Max, that massive battery almost encouraged me to spend more time on my phone than I needed to. Knowing that I had that 10 hours of screen on time made it easy for me to just keep scrolling, watching, and consuming content. It was like I didn't have to worry about the battery running out, and because of that, I was losing track of time. But with the regular iPhone 16 Pro, the smaller battery will force me to be more mindful of how I use my phone. I'll have to prioritize what's important, checking emails, staying on top of messages, creating content, and avoid getting sucked into hours of mindless scrolling. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. We spend so much time on our phone these days, and sometimes having a smaller battery might actually help you be more present. Less screen time, more time for things that actually matter. Now, as a content creator, I do need a phone that can keep up with my demands. And here's where the regular iPhone 16 Pro really shines. Sure, the Pro Max has a bigger screen and a bigger battery, but when it comes to actually creating content on the go, practicality is key. The regular iPhone 16 Pro has all the power of the Pro Max, same A18 Pro chipset, same camera system, same performance, but in a smaller, more portable form factor. It's easier to carry around, easier to shoot with, and it just feels more practical for those times when I'm out and about creating content. When you're shooting video, editing on the go, or even just capturing quick moments for social media, you don't always need the biggest screen. What you need is a phone that's easy to handle, comfortable to use, and still gives you all the power and the features you need to get the job done. So after a week with the iPhone 16 Pro Max, here's where I've landed. The regular iPhone 16 Pro just fits my life better. More practical for everyday tasks, and it doesn't come with the downsides of being too big or too heavy. It's not always about having the biggest or the most powerful device. Sometimes the best phone for you is the one that fits your needs and your life. Alright, so now that I've made my decision to switch to the regular iPhone 16 Pro, there's only one question left. What color should I get? I'll be honest, the Pro colors this year, they're kind of trash. I don't know what Apple was thinking, but none of them are really speaking to me. I'm leaning towards the black just because it's a classic and everything goes with it, but I'm not sure just yet. Let me know in the comments what color you think I should go for. Maybe you guys can convince me to try something different. So that's why I decided to make the switch from the iPhone 16 Pro Max to the regular iPhone 16 Pro. Don't get me wrong, the Pro Max is an incredible phone, and if you're someone who needs that extra screen real estate and battery life, it might be perfect for you. But for me, the regular iPhone 16 Pro just fits my lifestyle better. If you're still debating between the two, I'd say it comes down to how you use your phone. If you need that extra size and battery life, go for the Pro Max. But if you want something that's easier to handle, more comfortable for daily use, and still has the same features, the regular iPhone 16 Pro is probably the better choice. Alright, that's it for this one. If you guys made it to the end of this video, drop a dolphin emoji down in the comments below. I would love to know who my true supporters are. And of course, I'll be sharing my thoughts on the regular iPhone 16 Pro once I've had some time with it. I'll catch you guys all in the next one, and don't forget to flex with your tech.